Hello there, citizens of the Reject Nation. Roxy and I, moments ago, like 5 minutes ago, we just got out of a jam-packed screening for Fantastic Four First Steps. So we are, of course, going to give you our immediate reaction and thoughts. We've only talked about it for like 20 seconds. Before we go into that, I do want to say, Real Rejects has launched another new Fantastic Four First Steps inspired shirt. Take a look at it. You get it? First Steps. If you buy one, it's an amazing way to support the channel over here. If any of you buy, please tag us on social media.
Yeah, Greg.
Share the stories. It'll be a great time. But now let's just go into the review of this.
Should we take our first step
First step
into the review?
to the
I've been
review.
thinking about that for the last minute. So
Thanks for bringing your creative juices
you're
here.
welcome. You're welcome.
So, yeah, I mean, the plot of Fantastic Four is pretty straightforward. It takes place in an alt universe, Earth 828, and the Fantastic Four are already established, and Galactus is coming, and they gotta defeat him. There's plans, there's machinations, and there's a baby named Franklin Richards, and I read a shit ton of comic books going into this one, so I was primed and ready. Roxy, before watching this, what were your thoughts beforehand?
My thoughts were that I had very low expectations for this movie, and I'm not exactly sure why. It might be because it's only following Superman by 2 weeks, and all the hype was around Superman for me. All the press was around Superman for me. I just wasn't focused on Fantastic Four at all. And so going into this, I kind of was hopeful, but I thought this might not be up my alley. How about you?
Yeah, I was more like, I was a little apathetic about it. Like, I was hopeful. Of course, I wanted it to be good, but it looked like it would be like a good MCU movie. But it didn't look great. It didn't look like like I love the third trailer, but I wasn't like over the moon about enthusiastic. Even though I've been reading all these comics that are getting me more excited. So I went in with a bit of apprehension. And so now that we have watched it, what would be the? Let me ask you this before we give away our full feelings on it. Who was the standout character for you?
I think it was Johnny.
Really, Johnny? Huh? Why? What about Johnny?
Man, first of all, he's hot.
Okay. Yeah, no pun intended.
Second of all,
You're a Joseph Quinn fan.
yeah, I'm a big Joseph Quinn fan. I
Okay.
think that he was perfectly cast. I think that he is funny, endearing. He had me laugh the hardest of anybody, and I know that that's more his character than some other people, but the way that they played him in this was so different than the previous movies that we've seen. I just think that he nailed it and brought to life a character that I have never cared that much about.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite? Who was the standout for you?
My personal favorite.
Can I guess?
Who do you think it would be?
I think it was Sue.
It actually wasn't Sue.
Whoop.
It was the one who I thought I would have the hardest time actually seeing.
Ben?
No, no. Ben would be my second favorite. It was Pedro Pascal, Mr.
He was amazing.
Reed Richards. When I was seeing him in the trailers, there was so much about who he like, and especially liking it to the comics. I was like, I'm not really seeing this, and I feel like I'm only gonna see Pedro Pascal, but he brought so much depth to the stoicism. I thought he was able to bring a lot of that kind of like I'm smarter than everyone else, but I love the approach of how his real emotional struggle is like emotions. And then dealing with like having a baby like that, the way how he processes being a father, I thought was one of the more fascinating parts about this movie in terms of like character development. Johnny Storm on that note, I thought
I like that your answer, by the way, you asked me who my favorite character was, and I said, hot. What's
Yeah.
yours? And you were like, the emotional arc and development. People pick different favorite characters for different reasons, y'all. Don't come from me.
But I mean,
Johnny.
but Johnny, he was the one who I had actually the hardest time adjusting to because of, like Chris Evans was my introduction to him, and then seeing him in the comics, and he definitely
too.
felt very different, and they definitely had a different approach. Like there's kind of a drier, more subdued approach that he takes, but they also lean more into this guy who's kind of shunned, like disregarded for at a level of intellect this guy might have. So he's constantly having to prove himself. And I like that they actually lean into showing he's more than just a hot guy.
No, I agree. It's because of all of that. I like that we see him be a little more rash. And he is that way because nobody is listening to him. But he thinks that he could be the leader that he can be, or the type of person that he can be. So I we're getting some good stares.
Yeah.
I just think that he had the most to kind of overcome, and I love the choices that he made in this movie as an actor, and the choices that were made by the character to move the plot forward in
Yeah.
ways that it really impacted me.
What did you think about, Pedro?
I think that Pedro did the most amazing job because well, I think everybody did great, but for him to disappear into this role, I thought would never happen.
Yeah, me too.
I have been watching
Had doubts, yeah.
I've been watching so much Pedro, as every person out there has. I love Pedro just like the rest of you guys, but thinking about him in another role, I was like, I've seen him in 4 things this year. Like, I love this guy, but man, does he sleep because he's always filming. So I just thought that it would kind of be very much like a continuation of The Last of Us or anything that we've been seeing Pedro in.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He didn't even look the same. He looked like cleaner cut, had a little bit of a different voice. He did an excellent job
There's a
making
rhythm to his
right.
voice, right, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that he did phenomenal. What did you think about Vanessa Kirby?
She's great.
So good.
I mean, like, especially I keep saying from the comics, like, as if I'm trying to, like, prove to you guys,
No, I think
yeah,
that's a very valid point to come from, though.
she brings a lot of presence, and I prefer this version of her over any of the comic renditions that I read of her.
And any
The
movie iterations as well?
1,000%. Yeah, I mean, like, her and Pedro, first off, have great chemistry. I really bought them as husband and wife.
Incredible, I agree. They actually kinda reminded me of you and Olivia.
I love a tough ass chick, and it doesn't feel like an in your face, like, hey, we are totally revamping her. Like, it feels natural and genuine. She has this one moment in the movie where she gives this very moving speech, and she's got some of the best highlight moments, and there's such a range and versatility to everything that she provides here. But with the female perspective next to me, what did you think?
I'm a huge fan of hers as well, and I thought that this was an excellent casting choice. And then when we started with her, at the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, this is a different voice than we're usually seeing her in. This is a different role. How is she going to embody this character? But she did something that I felt like was very Wonder Woman of her when I first saw the first Wonder Woman movie, where you're like, oh, she's a whole ass woman.
Yeah.
And that means she's many things. That means that she can take care of business. That means that she has a softer side. That means that she really sees people. That means that she cares.
Mhm.
She is very maternal, but she's also incredibly smart and has emotions and she lets them show. And I think that she might have been the best written of the characters as the most well rounded.
Yeah.
I
I
really love what they did with her.
I would agree with that, and I love that this movie really demonstrated, like, the motherhood side as a strength, even, like, when she's pregnant as, like, a strength. That was really cool to me.
Eben Moss Backrack, how'd you feel?
I adored him. When I read the comics, The Thing is easily the part where I am most engaged, most engrossed.
Really?
Yeah, every time. Like, he's my favorite in the comics, and to me, I was kinda worried when I saw some early social media reactions that weren't really highlighting him, but he's so natural. Like, right after Pedro, I would say he's my second favorite in here, yeah, when you read the comics, you kind of imagine him with a big, like, a rough kinda like how Michael Chiklis was in the first one, but that softness that he brings in the warmth, and I love, like, the way the community sorta treats him, like, they don't look at
Yeah.
him like, "Ah, what the hell are you?" You know? And, yeah, what'd you think of him?
Of the 4 of them, he is the one I am the most interested in seeing more of.
Okay.
Because I think we did see a good amount of him, but I feel like there is another layer there that we didn't really address, which is what happened to him.
I think I would agree that the movie doesn't really explore it's there in the performance,
Right, but that
but
makes sense to me. I think
yeah.
that was the right choice for this movie, but he's the one who I'm like, "Okay, let's dig under those layers of rock and see what actually is going on there." Speaking of people I'm a huge fan of, obviously, I'm a big fan of The Bear. I've been watching him nonstop as well, and everything else that he's done, always have been. So it's really, really cool to see him in this role and get his spotlight the way that all the rest of the, like, big ones come. He's an A-list celebrity now, and I think he really deserves it.
What was the, impact you felt from Galactus?
I had read before this that the Fantastic Four are, like, the least big part of the Fantastic Four movie and that this was a Galactus film. That's what I had heard.
I don't agree with that.
I didn't feel that way at all.
I don't
So I was very happy to feel that way because I was concerned we were gonna watch a Galactus movie, and it was not a Galactus movie. I thought that Galactus was part of this the appropriate amount to still leave us with feelings about the Fantastic Four more than about Galactus.
Yeah.
But I do think that I cared about Galactus, but I cared significantly more about Silver Surfer, which I'm shocked about because I thought that Julia Garner is a top 5 actress right now for me. I think after Ozark, I've obsessively followed her everywhere she's gone, and I thought that she was able to bring that performance to life, which is very tricky to do. And from the trailers, I was like, "Uh-oh, am I not gonna dig Silver
Yeah.
Surfer? Is she not gonna look okay? Like, what is this gonna be?" So I thought that that was really interesting that my focus was way more on her than on Galactus. How did you feel?
Well, they give, like, the character development to Silver Surfer. I guess the one hindrance, and this could be from knowing Rise of Silver Surfer, this could be from comics, is that, like, I felt like her story trajectory was one of the more predictable elements of where they would go with Silver Surfer. But that being said, the part that I loved about what they did with Silver Surfer is they really lean into the Herald side, like the Silver Surfer versus Fantastic Four side.
Right.
There's some sequences in this movie that are not in the trailer, and there's one in particular with her. Yeah, there's one in particular with her that I was like, "This is really fucking cool that we are getting this scene with her," and, that also the connection that her and Johnny are forming, I think is really great. I won't give it away, and but Galactus, this was one where I heard some people being like, "Galactus is the shit. Galactus is big and scary and imposing," and
Did you feel that way?
yeah,
Good.
the whoa, like, the first time you hey, good to see you." Yeah, the first time that you see him, it is like, it is kinda scary. Yeah, and then on IMAX, it's really a b when you get to the finale fight that they keep teasing in the trailer, I was like, "Damn, this is awesome." It is awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, especially because I had heard a lot of people complaining in the trailer that Galactus was super small,
Oh,
and Galactus is not super small.
no.
Galactus is larger than life, and I really appreciate how challenging they made Galactus.
Yes, he was a formidable villain.
To the point where you're wondering to yourself, how on earth
Yeah.
could we actually stop this? And I'm not saying whether we did or didn't, but how could we possibly fight against this person? Because that is like, we're helpless.
There's actual stakes with him,
Right.
like, people constantly, like, love to point out when Marvel has a villain problem, and I'm like, "This movie ain't one of those." Right? This is one of the better villains for sure.